Morning. So today we're electricians wanted the soffits on, and while we're here we thought we'd put the corner boards on. I like to do these, the corner boards are these 5/4 by 4. That means that they are, I mean technically 5/4 is supposed to be 1.25 inches or so. This ends up being about just a little over 1 inch thick. What I like to do with the corners is I like to cut half the depth of the board and the same distance back this way, so that when I stack two and then I put them together like that, and I'll show you in a second, it makes a nice little corner out here that I can apply caulking to, and it just allows it to move a little bit over, you know, weather and whatnot, and just makes a nice tight good looking corner. You know, your other options are to miter this. Most people would never do that, or they just butt the corner and have that little seam. I don't like that. You can't caulk that. You can't, you know, you can't clean it up. So I'll show you. Anyway, the trick is with this saw to set it up so you don't have to move the saw. You know, it'll be the same. I'm going to cut right down the middle of the board, leaving the half that I want, and then I'll be able to spin the board around and run it through the saw again, and it will take the same distance of material out the back. Anyway, I'm just fussing around with that, and that was my point. I mean, you have to spin the board around and run it through the other way when you try to do that. And I'm just being as efficient as I can, not changing the saw. You could change it, set it up twice, but I only want to do it once. So anyway, I have this piece of scrap, and I'm just figuring it out, and nice little quiet time to myself, just so that I only have to do it once. It's not quite perfect, but this piece is not quite as thick as this. I think when I do it to this, try it on this one right now. We'll just sacrifice this piece here. Okay. That's not good. So then bring me one of those corners. I don't have the light size material. Anyway, they'll go together like that. You can nail it real well, and then it gives you a nice place to run a little bead of caulking, and it allows it to, you know, expand and contract. And it could actually be out of, you know, sometimes corners aren't square. Sometimes they go like that or like that a little bit. You know, this really hides that well. It does a good job of hiding that. You know, we are taking one corner out of this material. Obviously one side never gets seen. You know, this is your chance. If you have a buggered up spot, you know, realize that we're cutting that corner out. It would be a good time to use it up. You know, put it in the back side of this corner where nobody can see it, versus the other side where there's a possibility you may. And you always have to think about using the material that you get. I mean, you don't want to run down to the store and get one more piece just because it's buggered up in one little spot. I mean, a lot of the lumber you get today, especially the framing lumber, has a lot of wane or defects, and you find places to use it up. these are all the same. It's nice to give yourself every advantage to look like a really good carpenter. And these are sitting right here. They're all together. So I'm just going to put a couple marks on there that allow me to go, when I'm nailing these corners together, I can put the nails in the same places. All of the nails will be equally spaced. It looks really good. Nobody notices, and I'm telling you, but just every once in a while there's somebody that does notice, and I notice that kind of stuff. I notice the nail spacing. Does it look right, or did somebody just do a speedy job? It didn't take me very long, especially since they're all right here, and I don't know, it just sets you apart, no big deal. It's not going to really perform a whole lot better than if you just put nails wherever you want to put them, but just make sure I angle that nail. Beautiful. I can see my little marks here. I'm going to probably start at the top, since I have, it can be difficult to shove it against the wall if there's any, if it's bowed or whatever. So I'll get to the top where I don't have any leverage. I'll make sure that's tight and I'll nail it there. Then I'll come down to the bottom and I'll shove it tight where I have all kinds of leverage and I can lean against it and whatnot. And I've got these beautiful marks that are going to allow me to be really consistent nailing. Okay, now go down to the bottom and shove it tight. Put your knee against it or whatever. This looks really good. I know there's nothing weird going on here, so yeah. And sometimes you have to work your way, make sure you're good and tight. That's beautiful. Here's a corner with a hose bib in it, and we obviously have to do something different. Do you know why the hose bib is in this wall like this? Well, did you know that most hose bibs are about this long? The reason they are this long is you do not, it's a frost bib, I guess you call it. But when you turn the water off, the water is able to drain out of, the gasket that stops the water is way back here, not out here, and it's a long rod. You turn this lever here, shuts the water off, the water is able to drain all the way out of this hose. That is so that it will not, so there won't be any water in there to freeze. You assume it will freeze, actually. And that is why when it gets cold, you need to remember to take your hoses off. If the hose can't drain the water out, the hose bit, this copper will freeze. Of course, you don't know that it froze and cracked until it warms up, and then it's leaking water into your wall. And of course, you even wouldn't know that until way down the road, until it's done a whole bunch of damage. Anyway, hose is off, water shut off, and then the water can drain out of this hose bib. This is a interesting setup. They're using plastic pipe or Wiersbo or whatever it's called in the home. This is nice. This can freeze. It will not crack or break. That's one thing that's nice about it. So they have coiled that pipe up in the wall. I'm not capable of fixing this. You'd have to have a plumber come. You'd unscrew this from the wall, pull it out, cut that, put a new one on there, and shove it back in the wall. It's real easy. That is nice. But anyway, our objective here is we have to fasten this to a block. And these are blocks that they make to do stuff like this. Now, what do? How do I get it? You could be mean, which sometimes I am, and pull this out, shut the water off, cut the pipe off, and then call a plumber and tell him to come fix it, which probably is a reasonable thing to do. But anyway, I want this to go through the block. So I don't want a nasty phone call from the plumber. So I will just take this block and cut it in half. I'll cut it right down the middle. That will allow me to put both sides together. Nobody's gonna know. I could even caulk that up if I needed to make it, to hide that suture. So I'm gonna cut it down the middle. I'll put it on both sides of this. Anyway, this corner will be a little bit different, a little weird, because it's got this hose bib coming out of it. But I'll put this where I want it. This will still allow me to caulk that up, and I'll bring one down to it, and then I'll keep going with a little bit of it on the bottom. Obviously, when I rip this in half, I'm going with the grain. If I were to go across the grain, it'd be really obvious. I mean, it'd be easier to see. This may be obvious too. And I'll try to cut a straight line, but it shouldn't matter because whatever I cut, the other side looks just the same. Hopefully this will all come together.
Nice.
It's fine. You know, it'd be better to have the plumber drill through the block, but we're just doing what we had to do. Keep him from getting that nasty phone call from the plumber.